Is Pride Month, a time of year that has significance for Hampton University defensive back Byron Perkins. Perkins came out as gay last October in the midst of the college football season, becoming the first openly gay HBCU football player. He wrote in part in a post on social media, quote, "This is who I am, this is who I've been, and this is who I'm going to be." Perkins was back in the headlines just last week when he introduced his partner, J.D. Dunn, on social media with the caption, "I don't know a lot, but I know I love you." As I read that post, I wanted to read the post and sing it like the Aaron Neville song as we welcome in Byron Perkins. And Byron, thank you so much for joining us. What made this the right time to introduce you and JD?
Well, what made it the right time was, like understanding that life is precious and at any given moment it could be gone. So therefore I didn't want to waste time. I think the biggest misconception that we have as people is thinking that we have time when in reality that's not the case.
That's decision number two when you made that last week. I want to go back to last October and really decision number one for you in this journey publicly in your decision to come out in the middle of football season. Why then?
Well, because and I love what the lady previously was talking about. She said how a happy person equals happy play. So essentially, in order for me to be a better football player, I understood that I had to understand myself, and that meant that I had to exercise being who I was authentically. The play wouldn't get any better if I didn't do that.
You were referencing an interview you did with Natasha Cloud, and you said there's no really good time for anything except for when it's going to make you happy. And we know that you were featured in a special over the weekend. And you kept using the term mask frequently in the story about your journey, specifically removing the mask. What does that mean?
What it really means is I felt as if I was constricting myself. I felt as if I wasn't able to be free. And because I wasn't able to be free, it was kind of condemning who I wanted to be. It was condemning the football player. It was condemning even the person. So ultimately, I had to make this decision of whether or not I was going to continue to keep embodying this mask or whether or not I was going to embody myself. So I made the ultimate decision of making sure that I embody myself instead of trying to live up to the expectations of what society and what other people had of me. I decided to focus on what I wanted out of my own life.
How heavy is that pressure when you talk about that? And you say you really can't be yourself and you have to act a certain way with that mask. How much pressure was that for you to live this way for so long?
It was a lot. It was just dealing with the not only the amount of backlash that you would think that you would receive from family members and teammates, but also just thinking about how it would be applied to your social life, how it would be applied to your personal life, and let alone like the sport that you play, football. It makes it that much more difficult to be who you want to be because you're not allowed to exercise who you truly are. So it was a lot of pressure. And ultimately, I had the privilege of being around people who cared about me enough to say that, and remove the ignorances from their mind of what they thought I was and come to understand the character and the content of who I am as opposed to, like the stigma of what my sexual orientation brings. And I couldn't be more grateful for that.
You used a term there that I find interesting. You used the term backlash and maybe the perceived backlash you think that you would get from family members and teammates. Let's hang on the family for a second. What was their response when you told them?
Well, that is probably the most surprising response that I got. I thought that I would have more. I thought that I would have more of a pushback, but my family has been, my biggest support system. They've been my rock, from my mother to my grandmother to everybody who's been in my circle. They've all been, right in my corner from day one. My mother has been the biggest support to me, and I'm so grateful to be able to have someone like her in my corner, especially not only as a mentor, but, as a mother, as a caregiver. She has given me everything that I could ever want. So my family has been the rock.
So you've got the family there supporting you. I'm certain that was probably nerve number one of who you wanted to come out to. And then, Byron, you play football. It's a locker room atmosphere. There's a very masculine alpha dog type atmosphere in the locker room around players and coaches. What kind of response have you gotten from them?
So I was able to build a rapport with my guys, with my teammates before I came out, and I feel like building that rapport, building that structure of who I was they were able to remove the ideologies that they had about my sexual orientation, because they were like, we've been around this guy from day one. You know, we understand who he is, we understand his work ethic, we understand his character. So really the sexual orientation, or really anything that, you know, we don't find applicable to our lives, you know, we're not just going to castrate it just because we don't understand it. And that in itself has been one of the biggest, you know, like pressures removed from me, because these are the guys that I need to play with. These are the guys that I got to go to war with. So as you said before, like the whole performative masculinity dynamic that exists within the locker room, it's a lot. But at the same time, you know, building that family, building that camaraderie, it trumps all of that.
Yeah, and this sounds funny to put it this way, but since you made that decision public and you mentioned your teammates coming around and supported you, what has that done maybe to the chemistry within this football program that for a while maybe you thought that they really wouldn't accept the real you, and now that they have, how has that impacted the bond that you guys have as a football unit?
Cohesion has been remarkable, and just being able to, you know, have that chemistry, it makes you play that much better on the football field. It gives you the edge on your opponent. It gives you the ability to make plays. It gives you the ability to, you know, just play more relaxed. And I don't think a lot of people understand this, but, you know, being relaxed, being a relaxed player, being a relaxed athlete plays a whole nother role in the amount of comfortability that you have as a player. So kudos to my teammates, man, for having my back since day one and allowing me to build that chemistry with them.
By the way, the poise that you're showing during this interview with the noise behind you, and I assume you're getting quite a few texts during this interview, the poise under pressure on live TV out of you, Byron, right now is remarkable. When you look now, we're heading into the summer. We were talking during the break, you guys doing your off-season workouts, getting ready to go. You've already graduated there from Hampton. So what's next for you going into this upcoming football season?
What's next for me is the biggest step that I've ever really taken in my life, and it's pursuing the ultimate goal that I've ever wanted since I was a kid, and that's after having a breakout season, after having my debut game against Grambling, and, you know, continuing on to win the rest of the games this season. I'm going to make sure that I declare for the draft, and I'm going to make sure that I put it all on the line this season. I'm going to make sure that I show my talents. I'm going to make sure that I exemplify that, you know, even a kid like me, even a kid with, you know, not as many relatable factors can also exist within the NFL.
You know, you've got goals and you have dreams, and oftentimes when people make difficult personal decisions in the public light, you didn't ask to be a pioneer, you didn't ask to be a role model, but when you make a decision that you did, that's just kind of the factor that goes along with it. So now that you've done this, what message would you share with others who may be considering a decision to come out or might not do it because of the fear of family, teammates, and everyone surrounding them?
I would tell them, don't rush it. I would tell them that it's on your time. I would say that there's no clock. There's no precise time. When somebody else does it, that doesn't mean that you have to do it. It's on your time. It's on your agenda. And you want to know what? It's your life. You get to decide when you want to make the ultimate decision. I would never, you know, persuade anybody who was in a sticky situation, you know, that would put their lives in jeopardy, their livelihoods in jeopardy, their family unit in jeopardy. I would never tell them to publicly come out or put all of that at risk. But what I would say is that if you want to live more authentically, if you want to be somewhat of a happier version of yourself, if you want to remove the Band-Aids of what society has said that you have to live by, then do it. But again, it's on your time.
And look, Byron, you may or may not know this, but I'm sure you are affecting young kids' lives throughout the country with the courageous decision that you made, especially playing college football and everything we know going into that sport. Summer vacation, go enjoy, get that work in, count down to kickoff. It's been so good talking to get you to know you a little bit. Thanks for coming on today.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
Thank you for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.